Kia ora koutou katoa, nau mai hara mai ki te ao ha, kina kina your sports show right here on your Tribal Pulse, te kore mako o Taranaki 94.8 FM and 98.4 FM. Well, she's tough as they come when it comes to the footy field, a proud mama and a leader amongst her peers in the sport of women's rugby league. She's represented the Sharks and the Cowboys in the NRLW and has proudly worn the Māori All-Stars jersey on numerous occasions. Harata Butler, nau mai hara mai.
Tēnā koe te tuakana.
Kia ora, sis. Hey, good to have you on the show. I'm really looking forward to having a kōrero to you about your hikoi and your journey in rugby league. But before we start, ko wai koe no he koe, a bit about yourself and where you're from.
Tēnā tātou katoa, ko taupiri te maunga, ko Waikato te awa, ko Tainui te waka, ko te awa Māorihi te marae, ko Ngāti Tipa, Ngāti Amarunga Hapu, ko Tainui, ko Waikato Tainui te iwi, ko Harata Butler tēnei. E noho anau ki Kirikiri roa, hei oi I whānau mai au ki te tai tokerau, ki ngā pēwhai rangi me ki. Hoi anō, koe nei takutiranga waiwai, ko Waikato, he piko he taniwha. Yeah. Kia ora.
Oosh, he piko he taniwha. Awesome to have you on the show, Harata. Hey, now rugby league, obviously you're a well-known figure amongst women's rugby league, but was it always rugby league as a young girl? Was there any other sports that you played and got into?
Yeah, I think I could speak probably similar to a lot of wahine that now play rugby league or rugby union. It all normally started back at school on the netball court. So yeah, back when I was a little grasshopper, netball was my go-to during kura. And then as I got into Wharekura High School, kind of swayed into multiple sports at kura there, with not just netball, basketball, touch football. What else did we play? Wakaama. And I think just because back at kura, that was the way to get around not only outside of class, but also around the motu, playing as many sports as you could. So, yeah, I've dabbled in a few sports prior to rugby league. But I think every sport's played a huge part in my skills, my pukinga, I would say. Not that they're too flash, but they get the job done.
Awesome. Oh, good to see you play a few different codes. Now, your earlier life you spoke of kura. Now, I know you went to the same kura as my wife, Te Whare Kura o Rākau Manga, and come from the famous Tani Wharau Club as well. This must have played a huge part of your your grounding and your love for your culture. Tell us a little bit about your kura and your club there in Rahui Pōkeka.
Yeah, so me kuraina ki te whare kura o Rākau Manga, and it's obviously it's a total Māori immersed kura. Hei oi, what's embedded in you is our three principles, our three values, te ture, te whakapono me te aroha. And we also sit under and follow and as a kaitiaki me ki for the kingitanga, ki raro I te maru o te kingitanga. And so just a lot of au I te pōpō I te ao, we're embedded in our te ao Māori, and so like it's played a huge part in me with how staunch I am to my taha Māori, te ao Māori, tikanga and all that stuff, my reo. And it just keeps me grounded, no matter where I go, as we've shared previously. Have crossed the ditch a couple of times, and so coming home always regrounds me and brings me back to my tūranga waiwai here in Waikato. And yeah, I think we're just it's hard to talk about being a pupil or being a part of our kura, te whare kura o Rākau Manga, as well as Tani Wharau. Tani Wharau Rugby League Club. It goes hand in hand when you're living and breathing and sleeping and eating in that community in Rahui Pōkeka. It's a pride it's hard to talk about. And so as your wife would know, one of our uncles or Papa Harry would say, don't tell me, show me. And So yeah, it's something that you have to experience yourself, but it's definitely kept us grounded to who we are.
I love that mantra. Don't tell me, show me. Beautiful. I've had to talk to the kids about that a couple of times, and myself sometimes. Hey, now you mentioned heading across the ditch. So you went over, I think it might have been about 10 odd years ago. You went over to Australia, played some club footy, won a couple of titles, even got to represent New South Wales, I think, in an interstate game against Queensland. How did all that come up?
Yeah, geez, that was a while ago. Back about 20, just over 10 years ago, I moved over to Sydney. Just a young girl out of school, not too fresh out of high school, and wanted to explore. Went over to Sydney to whānau, and obviously my whānau, it's a kind of a thing for us to play rugby or rugby league, and that's how I come across the team over there. Back in the day in Sydney, it was the Sydney Metro women's rugby league competition back then. And across the whole Sydney, there was only about maybe five clubs back then. And we used to do everything ourselves, fundraise, travel, all that stuff like that. And it was back in 2014 when we won our second title, second title for the competition. I ended up making selection for the New South Wales Women's interstate team. Back then, that was prior to it being state of origin. So back then it was New South Wales versus Queensland interstate women's. And unfortunately, I was in that era where Queensland were dishing us our nono on a plate. I think it would have been, we were close to the 10 or the 11-year drought of being smoked by the Queensland sisters up there. But just to be able to say that I've played for New South Wales, being a New South Wales supporter myself, was the first huge highlight of my footy career, and that led to I ended up making the wider squad for Jillaroos back in 2014, and even that wasn't an experience itself. Even though I didn't make the squad, didn't quite feel right for me pursuing rugby league for Australia, but you bet this Māori girl still took up the opportunity and went for a ride up on the flash plane and stayed in a hotel and got all the gears and experienced the culture that the Jillaroos were embedding back then, to obviously go on to how their winning streak and their upskill of their footy has probably bloomed since then, I would have to say.
Wow, what an awesome introduction to Australian footy and that over there. Awesome introduction to get to wear the sky blue. Now, I know you come home. I think you became a mama. You came home and then you ended up back in Australia again, playing for the Rabbitohs and then on to the Sharks and the Cowboys. What was this experience like when NRLW really kicked off and stuff?
It was like you said, Caps. Coming back and being a mama. Obviously, I stepped away from the game for a few years. Focused on being a mum, being a full-time working and providing for my whānau and stuff like that. But there was that little bit of something, that inner little voice of Harata saying, "Come on, we're not quite done yet." And so what kick-started restarted my fire in the belly to pursue rugby league would have been our tournaments. Playing in the Tuakana, the Aotearoa New Zealand Māori Rugby League Tuakana tournaments for the past nearly 10 years. I think it was 2018, making the selection for the first All-Stars Māori women's squad back in 2019. That's when got a taste of semi-professional footy, and that wasn't too long after the NRLW was first launched off in 2018. And so over through from 2019 with COVID and everything, we experienced a lot, and I could say that for all of us, especially with the shutdown of the border and stuff like that. So that kind of played a big part in my wanting to pursue an NRLW career back in 2020. Kind of got stubbed there because of COVID. Just the uncertainty of everything. So was on the back burner for a couple of years, just finding my place at home here. Was still playing club footy for Papakura Seagull Sisters up in Auckland there. Doing well up there with a couple of championships or premierships there. Played nationals, and then came home to get our women's space, our women's team, Tani Wharo, women's footy up and going back in 2021. And then I think it wasn't until we won the Tuakana tournament in 2022, the Wahine Toa, that's when the light bulb kind of flickered and said, hey, you're 30 next year. Let's give this one more crack before we're a bit too old. And while we still got some mileage in the trunks. And so at the end of 2022, done some planning alongside a couple of my close mates, and we decided to jump over to Sydney and played our first Harvey Norman comp there for the Sydney Rabbitohs, South Sydney Rabbitohs. And then from there was just pretty much, digging in, getting the mahi done, and without knowing the whole scheme of the game, with no player agent. It was just more so, if you're good enough, it will show on the field, and if you work hard enough, you'll maintain your performance to hopefully secure a contract. Then I was just very fortunate that I got picked up after we played the Cronulla Sharks Harvey Norman women's team. And their NRLW Pathways manager approached me after the game, and then it kind of just started from there, my career in NRLW. And so it was kind of a bittersweet moment, having put that dream of playing NRLW on hold from 2019, and finally, believing in myself that I still had the goods, and knew that, just had to put in the mahi, and don't tell anyone, just show that I belonged to be in the game. Awesome. And so it's been massive. It's been massive from Sharks to Cowboys. It's been a huge experience, just the little jump from one state to another, and one beach to another. Could pretty much stay up there, up Townsville there.
Awesome. Really showing resilience there, to stick at it through those hard times with COVID and the likes. Now, you mentioned in your kōrero about the Māori Rugby League tournaments. I know you're at a common face at the Tuakana tournament with Waikato, but we even got to see it down here in our own Taranaki Wānui tournament for Ngā Ruahine, which was pretty cool a few years ago, where you won player of the tournament. What is it about these type of tournaments that you think brings out the best in our wahine in rugby league?
Yeah, I think I even share this kōrero every opportunity I get in. Always grateful. It's always a different feeling. But every time I make a All-Stars campaign, I share the same kōrero with the sisters or with the girls that I get to take part in the campaign and take the field with. Is we always encourage, if you can come home, and come experience playing in a Tuakana tournament or in a Māori tournament, a Māori Rugby League tournament. It's like no other. I think what makes us a bit different to our mainstream tournaments or competitions throughout the year is that our culture really prides ourselves in our mahi. When we look into our culture and te ao Māori and our values and our tikanga, you can transfer a lot of that into the actual game of footy, into that footy space. A tinana, a wairua, a hinengaro, a lot of it transfers over, and you can relate, when when we're having to do the trainings and stuff like that, when you're having to train, when you're having to play, and you get into that game where it's 10-all, and you know you're trying to stop somebody from getting a field goal. You know, you talk about those times in our campaigns or leading up to our Tuakana tournament, about where you have to dig in, and you kind of refer back to either, you know, where you're from, your iwi, your people, your tupuna, who were either, you know, well known rangatira or chiefs, or, you know, they had something that was special about them that made them unique on battlefields or things like that. So I guess when it comes to Māori Rugby League, it's reigniting that lineage in them, you know, knowing that you come from something really great, and, you know, you've got the skills, you've got the wants, and so you've, you know, and then being Māori is like a superpower, really. It enhances all of those factors, and yeah, you come to, I think Māori tournaments, and I think this is what makes it so special about the All-Stars, is like we both have our own. You've got the Koori knockout and the Murray knockout over there. And if you've watched some of those tournaments, like they're pretty, they're something else as well. And I could definitely say that's exactly what it feels. You know, the same thing for us with our Māori tournaments is like we playing our own people, playing one another, but we're playing for our iwi, for our whānau, for our loved ones, for the kaupapa. And when you go out on the field, it's all battle. You're on the battlefield, and even though you play some of your best friends or your good mates throughout the years, it's all battle on the field, and then we can play whānau tātou once the game's over. But it's an awesome experience, and I'd encourage a lot of our whānau to get into some. Come have a jam. Go back to your iwi. Go back to your whānau. Come to the Tuakana tournament, or like you said, our wahine down in Taranaki there. You fellas got a tournament down there. It's a good starting, you know, stomping ground. I heard a couple of our girls actually, maybe one, I think Shakira Baker, played last year in the tournament. And I think that's what it's all about, Caps, is there's a pathway in Māori Rugby League, and, you know, we're walking it at the moment, and it's just to keep it going, to show that the rest of the girls and young ladies and wahine like myself, it's never too late.
100%, and it's just so good to see our wahine game growing so fast, and those opportunities for our wahine across the ditch and now back home, obviously with the Warriors and whatnot. Now, you mentioned the All-Stars. I wanted to just have a quick chat about the recent All-Stars campaign. I know you've been part of quite a few campaigns now. And this one was extra special with the loss of, I know your dear friend, Kath Wharton. How special was this campaign, and what is it that makes it unique, and how special was it to kind of honor Kath over that week together?
Yeah. Like you've mentioned, Caps, every campaign in All-Stars is a special campaign, or like you always take every year you'll take something special or core memories from that campaign. And so in 2019, myself and Kath, and this year was Kere Matua, we all debuted in the All-Stars Māori Wahine jersey back in 2019 alongside all of our other sisters, as well as some very high-profile players. We also played together again in 2020 up in Gold Coast. And so that was my second appearance. And then my third appearance for the Māori All-Stars was back home here, 2023. And that was an absolute, that was something else, being able to bring this kaupapa back home to our whenua. But this year, as you mentioned, with the unfortunate, with the unfortunate loss of our sis late last year, she was not only the Māori All-Stars and Māori Rugby League was a very special kaupapa for her in the world of rugby league. And I shared this with the girls throughout the week, which made it extra special because everybody kind of took something from our kōrero that we were sharing about Kath and her mahi and her passion and her love and her determination and her pride in this kaupapa and for this jersey. And so throughout the week we got to share about how Kath I felt she was an unsung hero. You know, she was one of those ones that was described for her attitude, always having the best attitude in whatever setting she was in. Works hard, a hard worker, would take the time to be there for whoever needed extra awhi and stuff like that. And, you know, she was a Kiwi Ferns player. She played Kiwi Ferns. She played NRLW Warriors, NRL Nines for the Warriors. She played multiple tournament teams, making tournament teams for Aotearoa New Zealand Māori Rugby League wahine. And she's also represented other New Zealand in kabaddi. She's also played tag. Very sporty wahine, our sis. But if anything, she always said that this was Māori Rugby League and All Stars was probably the pinnacle of her career, and she held that jersey above any jersey that she's taken the field in. And like shared that with the girls, and how not only was she a great player, but as her career came to an end, she was already proactively transferring herself into the coaching space and taking the time out of her own personal time and her own money to go over and equip herself with coaching knowledge and being mentored by the likes of Spencer Tapsell up in Gold Coast Titans. She put herself into applied for coaching positions, and I think in one of our kōrero teams, and then she obviously was on her way through up to the Aotearoa New Zealand Māori Rugby League wahine tour team. And so just all of that was all of her mahi and her dedication to the game, as well as just her being a beautiful person was displayed and was in her honour. We dedicated that game and that whole campaign to her, so that she was recognised and will always be remembered, and that each player that played in this campaign would take something, you know, from her and keep it going.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, Kath was an amazing mana wahine. Like you said, done a lot for the game, especially for our young kōrero in recent years and getting started up north. And it's a huge loss to our wahine rugby league community, but our rugby league community as a whole. Well, sis, it's been an absolute privilege to have you on our show. Thank you for taking the time to kōrero with us. Keep flying the flag for our Māori wahine and rugby league, and for all the mamas out there that are still playing the game that they love. We wish you all the best with the Warriors this year. And you never know, we might see you at our 10th anniversary Taranaki Whānui tournament later in the year. Might make a cameo appearance, maybe. Nah. But it's been awesome having you on the show, and thank you for your time.
Nah, awesome, Caps. Thank you. Appreciate your mahi. Keep doing, you know, mahi like people like you are the ones that keep all of our, you know, everybody connected and up to par, and, you know, making everybody proud of who they are, what they do, in whatever space that is. So, nā ku te whiwhi, my bro. E mihi ana kia koe. Me tō rohe. And yes, maybe see you later on in the year.
Awesome. Shot arata.